Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again, and today I have another canteen for you. Now, some of you guys, World War II enthusiasts, are probably going to notice what this is right away off the bat. This is what's referred to in the collector's market as the German tropical canteen. You can't really call it a tropical canteen, as these weren't like consistently issued, and there were so many different models issued and everything like that. You can see just about every version of Canteen issued in the Afrika Korps except for the late war ones, obviously, the very, very late war ones. So there isn't really a consistent tropical canteen, as the German Wehrmacht used tons of different canteens throughout the World War II era. But this is what's known as the collector's market as the tropical canteen, and it's actually very, very similar to another video I have, the Bulgarian coconut canteen, which is basically this same thing with some changes. But in traditional fashion, we'll start first with the cup. Now, this is the early war aluminum cup. All right, as you can see, it's actually in pretty decent condition. And the canteen itself is an early war aluminum canteen. Now, later ones you got to watch out for, because they made them out of steel, and then to prevent them from rusting, they actually covered them in paint, but it's lead-based paint. So if you have one of those, I would not recommend drinking out of that, but these early ones are totally fine to drink out of. As far as this canteen goes, it holds a moderate amount. It's decent size. Like if you wanted to make a cup of tea or some coffee or something, this is an adequate amount, I guess. I would like a slightly larger cup, but it'll work. I wish the handles were a little bit more ergonomic and nice, and everything like that. Also, I wish they didn't make so much fucking noise, because the way the Germans have it set up is the strap routes right over here, but it doesn't route flush. So when you run around with the strap on, it still rattles, which is just terrible. I hate the fact that that happens. I hate when canteens rattle and make noise, but the vast majority of them do. They could have just thought of a better handle solution to fix that. But overall, it's not a bad cup. It works. Most of them, you'll see, will have paints chipping on them. They come in a multitude of different colors. I've seen blue ones, I've seen red ones, I've seen black ones, I've seen gray ones, I've seen ones that don't have any paint on them. I've seen tons of different ones, and then this isn't even the only model of cup they use. They use a very tall, narrow cup too. They had Bakelite cups. They had tons of different stuff for different uses and manufacturers and everything that it depends on. So, but we'll set this now off, and we'll take a look at the canteen itself. Now, this particular canteen has the black leather carrier on it, which is nice. I like the leather over the canvas, but I've seen the canvas ones too on these wooden covered canteens. Nothing special to really worry about there, unless you're looking for a specific model. But they were issued pretty inconsistently and sporadically, so it doesn't really matter what kind of strapping you have on it or anything like that. This one has the Bakelite cap and a rubber stopper. So it's actually in pretty good condition. The canteen itself is showing some pretty significant signs of age on the inside. There is a little bit of corrosion on the inside, as well as in the threads up here where the cap screws on, from the Bakelite kind of disintegrating over the years and stuff like that. But that's pretty normal for the age of this canteen. There is the maker's mark there. It says Ritter on it. So it's a very, very nice canteen. Very, very awesome. It's excellently finished. It's got how you attach it is your standard kind of keyhole and stud here at the bottom for routing it as far as it goes, because it has space here. But there's also this hook on it, which is a very nice hook. It's a very heavy kind of a spring to it. This whole thing is removable if you don't want to use a carrier on it, if you want to put it in a pouch. They do make wool covers for these. This will fit into your standard kind of German wool cover. So if you want to do that. But I like the wood finish on it a lot. Wood's a very naturally common occurrence in nature, so the wood isn't actually too bad as far as the camouflage goes. It's a little bit shiny, but that's because they put a very nice finish on the wood that was wrapped over the canteen. These were used, started being manufactured about 1942, and they were used through the end of the war, and even to some degree after the war, and then a lot of them were decommissioned or sent off to other countries as aid. But overall, it's a very, very effective design. It influenced the Bulgarian coconut canteen that they used through the Cold War and World War II as well. It's just a good design. It's a very robust design. It's a very durable design. The wood helps keep the metal, the aluminum, from encountering the elements, because you don't want your aluminum to start breaking down and stuff like that. You don't want it to rust. It also prevents it from getting dinged and stuff. But this is a very complicated canteen to manufacture, so that's why these wooden ones were scrapped, and later they just went to steel. You also see a lot of just bare aluminum ones. You don't see a lot of the ones that have wood on them, or if the wood would split off, the canteen would be perfectly fine. If the seam were to go, the canteen underneath would be perfectly fine. It would still function just normal, but it's just not going to be as safe as the wood-covered ones. But super glad to have this canteen. Had it for a little while. I've seen a bunch of different versions of them. This one isn't in the greatest condition. Looks pretty great from the outside, but the inside of the canteen is pretty disgusting because it wasn't taken care of very well. So this is probably one I will never use, but I'm still glad to have it because it's a neat display piece. But hopefully you guys like this video, and you subscribe if you like this sort of thing. I'd very much like to know if you have any experience with one of these, if you have one of these as well, what your favorite canteen is, what your favorite canteen model is, stuff like that. And if you have any suggestions for me to use canteens, a specific country's canteen, or if you have a specific system you want me to try and test, I would very much like to hear that, because then I can go about possibly getting one of those. If I, read about it and it ends up looking like something I want to use, I certainly will. So thank you so much for watching. As always, if I have any comments, questions, concerns, additional information, all that stuff, user experiences, leave those in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them as I get around to them. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.